In section 1.3, we will talk about the average rate of change, which basically is the slope. So the average rate of change of y with respect to x, as x shaded is from x1 to x2, is the ratio of the change in output. This is basically the rise to the change in input, which is basically the run. So the average rate of change, or the slope, is y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. In function notation, y2 is f of x2. So it's the value of the function when the input is x2 minus y1, which is f of x1, or the value of the function when your input is x1 over x2 minus x1. Here's an example. The average rate of change from x equals 0 to x equals 2 is, well, we know what x1 and x2 are. This is your x1, that is your x2, but we don't know their corresponding outputs. So let's find them. When x equals to 0, this is the point on the graph, which is the point 0, 2. When x equals to 2, this is the point on the graph, which is the point 2, 4. And if we draw a line in between these 2 points, we can now easily calculate the slope of this line. So we have 0, 2 and 2, 4. So the average rate of change, or the slope between these points, is 4 minus 2, that's y2 minus y1, over 2 minus 0, which is x2 minus x1. This is 2 over 2, which is 1. And we can see that by counting as well. The rise is 2, the run is 2, so 2 over 2 will give us an average rate of change between the 2 points of 1. Next example. Find the average rate of change of the function f of x equals to 2x squared minus 3x plus 2 on the interval 0, 2. Now remember, when we talk about an interval, these are the x values. So x1 is equal to 0 and x2 is equal to 2. We are looking at the average rate of change of this function from x equals 0 to x equals 2. We need to know what are the corresponding outputs. So f of x1 will equal to f of 0 since x1 is 0. So f of 0, if we plug this in, we have 2 times 0 squared minus 3 times 0 plus 2. 0 squared is 0, so anything times 0 is 0, anything times 0 is 0, and our output is 2. So therefore, f of 0 equals to 2. So this ordered pair is the point 0, 2. Next, let's take x2 is equal to 2, so let's find the corresponding output, f of x2. This is equal to f of 2. So we want to find the value of the function when x equals to 2. So we have 2 times 2 squared minus 3 times 2 plus 2. So this is 2 times 4 minus 3 times 2 plus 2. This is 8 minus 6, which is 2, and 2 plus 2 is 4. So our second ordered pair is 2, your input is 2, and the output is 4. So that's 2, 4. The average rate of change, or the slope, is equal to 4 minus 2 divided by 2 minus 0. This is 2 over 2, which is equal to 1. Next, find the average rate of change of the function f of x equals to 6 over negative 3x minus 2 on the interval negative 2, 5. So we have x1, which is equal to negative 2. And then just to make it a little bit different, I'm going to have x2 equals to 5. Just so you can see 2 different methods, you pick the one you like. Interval always refers to x values. So we're going from an x value of negative 2 to an x value of positive 5. We got to find the corresponding outputs. So if the input is negative 2, our output, f of negative 2, well, this will equal to 6 divided by negative 3 times negative 2 minus 2. This is going to be 6 divided by negative 3 times negative 2 is 6. 6 minus 2 is 4. And 6 over 4, this equals to, and you could use decimals, especially in this class, because this is a business calculus class. So in the real world, we're not going to be using fractions, we will be using decimals. So please feel free to use decimals. Just remember to round to 4 decimal places in your homework. So the first ordered pair, when the input is -2, the output is 1.5. Now let's take a look for the input of 5. So f of 5 will equal to 6 over -3 times 5 minus 2. This is going to be 6 over -15 minus 2. That's -17. Now once again, there's no need to deal with fractions anymore. Let's deal with decimals. So if we take 6 divided by -17, and remember to use 4 decimals, it's going to be -0.3529. So the average rate of change, or our slope, will be f of x2 minus f of x1 divided by x2 minus x1. So f of x2 is -0.3529 minus f of x1, which is 1.5. Okay, these are our outputs. That's our second output. That's our first output. Divided by x2 minus x1, which is 5 minus -2. Okay, so if we simplify this, we take -0.3529 minus 1.5, which gives us -1.8529, divided by 5 minus -2, which is 5 plus 2, or 7. Let's divide this by 7, and our average rate of change is going to be -0.2647. And once again, please remember to use at least 4 decimals in My Open Math. Next, given f of x equals to x squared plus 10x, find the average rate of change on the interval -3, 3 plus h. So this means our first x value is x1 equals to -3. Our second x value, x2, is equal to 3 plus h. So let's go ahead and plug this in. If our input is -3, we want to find the corresponding output, which is f of -3. So if I plug this in into my function, I will get a -3 squared plus 10 times -3, which is 9 minus 30, which is equal to -21. So our first point is the point -3, comma, -21. Our second point is the point 3 plus h. So for f of 3 plus h, we have 3 plus h to the second power plus 10 times 3 plus h. Okay, so if you multiply this, you got 3 plus h times 3 plus h plus 10 times 3 plus h. Let's go ahead and distribute this. We have 9 plus 3h, that's going to be plus 6h plus 8 squared. And then we have plus 10 times 3 is 30, plus 10 times h is 10h. And let's combine our like terms. So we have an 8 squared. Let's put that first. And then we have 6h plus 10h, which gives you a 16h. We have 9 plus 30, which is a 39. Okay, so our second ordered pair is going to be the input is 3 plus h, and the corresponding output is 8 squared plus 16h plus 39. All right, now let's go ahead and find our average rate of change, which is f of x2 minus f of x1 divided by x2 minus x1. Whenever you replace these with expressions, make sure you use parentheses. So f of x2 is going to be parentheses h squared plus 16h plus 39 minus f of x1, which is just -21. We will divide this by x2, which is 3 plus h, minus x1, which is -3. Okay, now let's simplify this. The two negatives here, they turn into a positive. So we have h squared plus 16h plus 39 plus 21, which will be 60, divided by, these negatives turn into a positive. Sorry. So 3 plus 3 is going to be, 3 plus 3 is 6 plus h, but I'm going to rewrite that as h plus 6. Now we got to think about, can this be factored? And in fact, it can. So if we can factor something, we need to factor it. We have to find two numbers which multiply to be 60 and add up to be 16. Those are going to be h plus 6 times h plus 10. And we're still dividing this by h plus 6. Now the h plus 6 and h plus 6, we can divide those to be 1. So our final answer is h plus 10.